Veteran of the insurance industry and here to help you for all your insurance needs.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening. You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everybody. I am Roger B., and I'm back this week for another episode of Locked and Loaded on America's Web Radio.
I'm not going to ask where you were.
Yeah, you don't want to know. And
maybe I can't say where. No.
And that voice you hear is my special guest co-host, Victor Armendariz from On Point with Victor. He's going to join us today for a little while, I guess.
For a little while.
Yep. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about today, this has been all over the news for the last couple of weeks, is I'm going to try and pronounce this guy's name. I haven't actually heard it pronounced, but Ahmaud Arbery. He was a guy apparently who was shot and killed by some people who apparently thought he was doing something wrong.
It was a couple of guys that were trying to be citizen police.
Right.
And, well, let me. You know what, Roger? Let me say this.
Fill in if you know something.
And I know that you would probably say the same. Everyone in this country is innocent until proven guilty. So by no means am I trying to jump ahead with the trial. But the evidence that we've seen is pointing to a couple of guys who were trying to be citizen police. And from what we can see from the videos, this guy was jogging. He stopped into, you know how when you go through a neighborhood, you see houses being built.
Yeah, you go take a look and say, "Ooh, let's see what's going to be there."
I just did this the other day. I was with my dog Duke, and I walked in and went, you know what? I want to go see what kind of kitchens they're putting in, get some ideas for my house.
See how the house is going to look, see what's in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and I walked in. Well, apparently that's what this guy did. This is what Aubrey did. He walked into, he looked around a house, and then he left and started jogging. There was nothing in his hands.
He didn't take anything from the house. From what they can tell, they didn't damage anything.
Didn't take anything. It was just jogging. And then you've got these two, and these are the kind of people that give people like us
they give gun owners a bad name.
Gun owners a bad name, and what it looks like, Roger. And I know you got to get to the story, but
we're going through it. Yeah,
it just looks like that these two guys, these two goons who wanted to be police. This neighborhood had some incidences, but when a guy is jogging in broad daylight with nothing in his hands, you don't jump out of your car and point guns at him.
Even if he had something in his hand, you're not allowed to shoot somebody for stealing things.
Exactly.
So now, I don't even know if these guys had anything to do with this new house being built.
No, to my knowledge, they didn't. They just knew there were incidences going on in the neighborhood. So they were immediately suspicious of this guy.
And from what I understand, they actually had cameras in the house. And they saw him just standing around. He was looking at stuff, kind of admiring.
Yeah, he ran up, looked around, and then went back to his jog.
Yeah.
No, it just appears that you've got two goons who wanted to be neighborhood watch guys who, yes, there may have been some incidences of some crime. So they took it upon themselves to go, okay, we don't recognize this guy. Let's question him. Well, You cannot. This is how gun owners get a bad name.
Right, exactly.
By these two guys,
you cannot chase somebody down, even if they're stealing something, and shoot them.
If you look at the video, they were ahead of him, stopped in the middle of the road, got out with their guns as he's jogging towards them. You know, look, you get out and point a gun at me when I'm jogging at you, and it ain't gonna end well for you. So I can't imagine what this guy thought.
Oh, my God, yes. And it's like these guys had no right to do what they did. This was completely. However, the prosecutor in that county labeled it as justifiable homicide before recusing himself from the case.
So I will say this, and I think this is, we're at the point now because the GBI got involved. And I think what's going to happen, Roger, is you're going to see.
I think they're going to reopen this investigation.
Oh, yeah. Well, what they're going to do, the investigation is ongoing, and the GBI is heading it up, and now the Attorney General is getting involved. But I think you're going to see an investigation of the local authorities who initially labeled this.
Dismissed this case,
yeah. Oh, yeah. They're going to pay the price.
Shame of this whole thing is that you wonder and you have to assume race was involved. Now
it's entirely possible, yeah.
And it's this is, folks, we're a country. We're one nation under God.
Mm-hmm.
And just because a black man's running down the street, he still has the same protection as you do.
Absolutely. Or a
And-
brown man, or a yellow man.
Or any other
Red
color.
man.
And,
Purple man?
you know, the Mr. Amma, whatever his name is,
Aubrey.
you know, he
Aubrey.
had to be scared to death
Must
with
have
two white guys coming towards him
Yeah.
with guns.
With guns.
And-
Not knowing what's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
They probably didn't even say anything. What they were, they just said they were trying to stop him. and
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
He had
you
no
know,
idea why.
it's-
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but America's Web Radio, and I can take any stance I want. And
That's right.
I take the stance that this is a horrific happening, insult, and you know I can. Well, there's just no good portion of it. Period.
Yeah.
Right,
It
right.
should not have happened. I mean,
They shouldn't have. I wish that Aubrey had to turn around and ran to somebody's house. When the minute he saw the guns, the guys jump out because they, like I said, they were ahead of him. They got out of the truck in the middle of the road and pointed guns at him. And but these two guys, if all the evidence bears what it looks like it's bearing,
Right.
they need to be put under the jail.
yeah, I
They
mean,
really
there's
do.
no reason for them to still be out on the streets loose, no doubt.
Well, they've been arrested. The GBI
Yes.
made sure of that.
Yeah, but for what? But the initial,
But the initial,
by the prosecutor in that
Eh,
county was, oh no, it's
Ev-
justifiable.
Everyone involved with the initial investigation, they need to be investigated. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
they need to. And look, I am not going to call for a hate crime bill because we don't
doesn't
need
matter
a
what
hate
color
crime
he is,
bill.
you shoot somebody, it's-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Murder is murder. I don't care what you look like. Murder is murder. And when you go down the road of hate crimes, you're trying to punish thought, and that's ridiculous. I don't care what these guys were thinking. What they did
Right.
was murder. Or at least what they did apparently looks like murder.
Right.
And they need to pay the
To shoot an
consequences.
unarmed person is
Yeah.
ridiculous anyway,
So-
especially when they're not coming at you or they're not threatening
Right.
you in any way.
Yeah, he didn't
It's
do-
illegal.
There was no,
highly illegal.
You can look at the video. There was no threatening. It just, it's ridiculous. And these two guys need to go to jail for a long time. The full extent of the law needs to be thrown their way, which looks like it's going to happen now.
Right, and I just
then
wonder. I don't know if any of them or the victim had any criminal history. I don't believe
That I don't
there
know.
was.
I know one of the. Well, how should I say it? One of the guys who
One of the
I want
idiots?
to call him a goon or an idiot. Yeah, was a former police officer, I believe. I
Yeah,
believe.
the dad had been
Yeah.
a cop.
That's just
It was a father and
unbelievable.
son. And
Father
that's-
and son, yeah.
Yeah. And
Now you figure maybe he went into cop mode and thought he was a law enforcement officer again, or
Then he shouldn't have pointed a gun at the
Yeah. He
guy.
should have
without-
known better. Yeah.
yeah. So that
well-
just pains me.
But like I say, he dismissed it at first, and he thought they was just going to go away quietly. But thank goodness it did not,
No.
because this is not the kind
Well-
of thing we need to have happen in this country. And I don't care what color upon color it
Yeah,
is.
it doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter.
We need to go after those guys, just like Chicago needs to go after all the shootings there. But that's another story. But what happened down in Georgia? I mean, here in Georgia, I should say.
Yes, we are in Georgia, by the way, in case you didn't know.
only a few miles away,
Only a
actually.
few- yeah. So I mean, the full extent of the law needs to be thrown at these guys, and the investigation of the original
so-called law enforcement.
Law enforcement, yeah, it needs to happen.
Because they totally, I mean, it's like he saw the autopsy report and then passed down his judgment.
Yeah.
It's like he got
Well,
shot and killed. What did you need an autopsy to report?
The reason why I want an
determine that?
investigation is because I want to know if they tried to bury the video. Because once the video came out, that's when the GBI got involved. And then
Because there was no way anybody could see. I mean, when
Yeah.
you see with
Because
your
when
own
you see the
eyes what
video,
happened, it makes a
yeah.
difference.
Yeah, and apparently there's more to the video that we haven't seen yet.
Well, they're probably
I'll be-
holding that pretty close to the vest
Yeah.
until they finish the investigation.
Exactly.
I have a feeling when that comes out, there everyone's going to. Well, I mean, everyone seems to know now that this was completely unjustified. Because you cannot shoot somebody for stealing something
Right.
unless they break into your house.
Now it's a different story if they break into your house. We had a story. This wasn't that long ago either. Here in Georgia, where 3 masked men, or I think they may have been teenagers, they came up to a house and they were trying to break in. And the homeowner shot all 3 of them. And now all 3 of them are taking a dirt nap. Now, I support
That's right.
that. You know, if you're defending your home, if you're defending your family from an armed assailant,
Right,
then
especially when
by
they're
all
armed.
means. Yeah, absolutely.
If this guy had been even carrying a gun, there would have been more question here, but he was not armed at all.
No, the guy was
hadn't.
just jogging down the road. From everything I've seen, the guy was taking a jog.
Yeah,
It's something
and he
that we
stopped
do
in to
every
look at a
day.
new house.
Yeah, and again, this is something that I've done. I do every day. I go out with the dog, and sometimes we decide we want to look at a new house being built. So,
Yeah.
man, it's sad.
But I hope this comes down and everybody pays the price on this one, because there's no excuse for this kind of thing. Especially when you're a gun owner, you're a permit holder, you're an enthusiast. You have to do it better, cleaner, and more in line with the rules than anybody else, because you have a special responsibility when you receive a carry permit. You have to do it better than anybody else. You have to be above a regular citizen, I think. You know, you are just a citizen with a carry permit, but that carry permit represents trust in the people to give you the right, not give you the right to carry, but to extend the privilege of carrying one outside of your home or your car or wherever else you are.
Well, you kind of
You know-
do have the right, but
As I said, the America's Web Radio is totally against this. On the other side of the coin, though, we don't want to light a fuse that we can't stop either. And this is something that, unfortunately, I don't give my brothers in media credit for the ability to know how far they can go and where they need to stop. And, this should not turn into, and it easily could turn into the Missouri riots and everything else. And,
Let's hope it doesn't get to that. I mean,
Yeah.
right now everyone's going on with cooler heads. They're trying to let the law enforcement handle the situation.
and that's the
Well,
way it should be.
we
Yeah.
can't say everyone. The idiot mayor of Atlanta has already accused racism and accused Trump of causing this shooting.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
she's
right.
blaming President Trump. So then, David, I think this, to your point, this shouldn't turn into. We have here a murder. It doesn't matter who, the color of the people, and we shouldn't politicize it. And which I think, to your point, which is already happening by the mayor of Atlanta and other Democrats, because they. Again, we get back to the don't let a good crisis go to waste.
Right.
And that's sad.
There's a possibility for something that, could have just been handled properly by the local authorities. Could have pressed charges against these guys,
Yeah.
But,
At that point, at the beginning, it could have almost been come and gone and nobody had ever known it.
right. It would have been a bad.
Right.
It would have been something bad that happened. It
And
would have been. They would have been
yep.
punished, and that would have been that. It would have been handled properly. It would have been fine. But when they start trying to say it was justified, when there's no way to
Right.
do that, that's where they start drawing into question
Right.
their motives or their, what they want to do with that situation. Because there's no reason for that. I mean, anyway, let's hope this guy's killer sees justice. All right, we are going to have to
Absolutely.
take a break here for a minute, but we'll be right back with more of Locked and Loaded on America's
Get your
Web
pen
Radio.
and paper ready. If there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call them.
This is David Donaldson with the Atlanta Healing Center, conveniently located in Lawrenceville, Georgia. At AHC, your success is our goal. Addiction recovery is about more than just not using. It's about becoming a whole person and addressing all aspects of your physical, psychological, and social needs. Please call us at 770-696-9862, or you can reach us on the web at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
Whether cruising the strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on americaswebradio.com.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
See, with this,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and every other genders out there.
all 1,235 of them.
I'm Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded, and we're back on America's Web Radio. And I figure, the last story we were talking about police officers that may have, or DAs or government officials that may have made a wrong call in what they decided to
rash
bring down.
judgment.
A rash decision, incorrect assessment of a situation. So now we're going to go a little farther north from the Georgia area. We're heading up to Canada. Our brothers in arms. Oh wait, they're not really allowed to have any arms anymore.
No, they're not. And if you're going to use the term Canadian police, just know that all I picture is Dudley Do-Right. So go ahead.
Chasing after Snidely Whiplash while
Whiplash.
he's twirling his mustache.
Yep. So all I hear in the rest of this story is Dudley Do-Right. So what did Dudley Do-Right do?
Well, apparently there was a parade or a little march on May the 4th celebrating Star Wars Day, and who wouldn't want to do that? That's fun.
May the 4th be with you.
That's right. May the 4th be with you. But there's a lady. She was dressed up in full stormtrooper gear, with her white outfit and everything. And she had her plastic, white blaster. And the police apparently saw this white plastic blaster as a gun.
Gun.
It's a weapon. And they went after her, weapons drawn, and arrested her in her stormtrooper costume because she had this plastic gun. And she was yelling at them while they were doing it. It's a plastic gun. It's not real. It's part of my prop. And they fully arrested her for this.
Are these the only Dudley Do-Right police division that hasn't seen Star Wars?
Apparently so. I mean,
come on.
You'd think police would be given some education into types of weapons or sorts of weapons to know that a Star Wars blaster is not real.
Until we get alien technology.
That's right.
My goodness.
They had music playing in the parking lot. Star Wars music was playing in the parking lot. Their staff was dressed up, waving to people. It was like just a promotion for this place.
Did it look like a assault blaster?
Yeah, assault blaster. And
Man.
that sat right next to my pepper blaster.
Oh, man.
But, so apparently they arrested her with their guns drawn. And the boss who was there with this parade or whatever it was, I guess it was just like a parking lot, welcoming party for people coming into this business. And there's a video of this, and you can see this woman is just screaming, "It's plastic, it's plastic," and they're throwing her to the ground, arresting her. It's like, oh my goodness.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I sure hope they let her go.
As of now, I don't know. It was a publicity stunt to promote a restaurant from what I gather. Mm-hmm. And they had people dressed up in uniform because, hey, it's fun. It's May the 4th. It's the Star Wars Day.
Right, Star Wars Day.
Oh my God, this is good, clean fun. But no, the police can't let that go by.
No,
Apparently, the Canadian police are so adverse to anything shaped like a gun that they decided to arrest this lady for having her plastic toy gun in full costume. That's what kills me. I can understand. Yeah. You're walking down the street, you have a weird gun tucked into your belt,
right,
and you're not in full costume. Okay, I can see that. They might want to question that. But she's wearing the costume of a stormtrooper with a stormtrooper gun, and they come and arrest her for that.
It's crap. I'm glad we live in Georgia.
But then you see the other story that we just covered with
that. Well, that's true, too. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say anything. I only said it because, the last Halloween, I put on some of my old DEA stuff, and I get free drinks and free food.
That's right. Absolutely. But there was a story a couple weeks ago about two 10-year-old kids, 10-year-olds, playing with guns, and the police came and took them into custody.
Wow.
Because they were playing with plastic guns or toy guns, and they were 10 years old. Okay, people have got to have a little bit of common sense.
Yeah, please.
What common sense was as common as the name would imply.
As the name would imply, but it's not.
But it is
especially
not.
If you're on the left side of the dial.
Well, it probably goes all over the place.
Oh, it does. Don't get me wrong.
Politicians in general tend to be filled with uncommon sense.
They're void of the common sense.
Yes, but so be wary when you go to Canada. Don't have any plastic guns in your hand because you may end up getting arrested. I could just imagine the scene though. This little restaurant having a May the 4th day, everyone in costume,
Yeah,
you know,
costumes, having a
playing
good
Star Wars
time.
music, waving at people in the streets, and the police come and throw somebody to the ground to arrest them.
I hope that the moment those police officers started abducting and arresting this lady, that they quickly changed the music to dun dun.
That's
dun,
right.
dun,
Darth
dun,
Vader's
dun.
music.
Yeah, I hope somebody did that.
Oh my gosh. It was a May the 4th be with you promo. Oh God. So, be careful out there, people, because there are morons in every aspect of our lives.
Yep.
And when they're in law enforcement, I try to be really supportive of law enforcement, but every now and then they make poor decisions.
It's
and here's
sad.
just 2 cases right today.
Yep.
Now, fortunately, the second one, no one lost their life. They didn't,
Right.
they didn't shoot her first.
Thank goodness.
Put down that gun. Free. Bang, bang, bang.
Down
Freeze.
that blaster.
That's right. But it was just silly that it even had to happen.
Yep.
Oh, more politicians. Okay. Let's go up to Virginia now with Governor Northam. Now, he has been a staunch anti-gun supporter. Everything he does, even though they stopped some of the legislation, he is still pushing hard for all kinds of anti-gun legislation. And when this lockdown happened, he immediately pushed for gun ranges and gun stores to be declared non-essential and shut them down.
Which dirtbag was this?
This was Governor Northam of Virginia.
Oh, blackface.
Yes, blackface.
He can
yes.
get away with it though. He's a Democrat.
Yeah, well, apparently his racist tendencies.
Blackface Nordstrom. Yep. That guy.
So, but according to the governor's Executive Order 61, indoor ranges have declared to be places of amusement. So apparently,
your Second Amendment constitutional right
are strictly
is
for amusement.
Amusement.
I know. I mean, how do
Wow.
these people? What do they think? People are not going to pay attention to what they do?
They look, these, especially these type of government officials like Nordstrom, they do, Roger. They think they're above you.
Oh
they,
yeah,
they are
believe,
the elitist.
They believe they are rulers.
Yes, they are the elitist. You are the peasant, and you must bear the burden of everything they put upon you. And if you ask questions or push back, then you shall be punished.
Right. Now, in a lot of states, there was some discrepancy as to this, and it seemed to be more liberal states were shutting them down and conservative states were letting them stay open. And then the Department of Homeland Security declared that all gun stores and ranges that sold guns were essential businesses and could remain open. But other states just took it upon themselves to ignore this determination and decide for themselves that, no, we're not going to honor that. We're just going to make up our own law because we don't want to obey the federal law and the federal justification. So, it seems like more and more governors are getting big-headed, deciding what they can do. They're trying to test their limits as to how much power they have.
Absolutely. You've got every one of these, especially blue state governors, who have newfound tyrannical fascist powers, and they're liking it.
Yeah, I think that they're realizing they can go. They're getting a taste of how far they can go, and still not have any issues because of this virus. They're violating they're stepping all over the Constitution.
Oh yeah, it's like I said in my show before. If you're getting sick of, if you're a liberal, if you're a Democrat voter, if you're a socialist-leaning Nimrod, and you're finally getting pushed too much, well, you can do something about it in November.
That's right. Vote for the Libertarian candidate. Vote for the Republican candidate. Vote for the Independent candidate.
I don't care if you vote for the Green Party.
That's right.
But if you continue to vote for the same dirtbags that are pushing you, then it's you have no one to blame but yourself.
That's right. You keep pushing for the people who violate your rights, and they take more and more of your rights away. You know what? You're pushing them to do it. You're allowing them. You're enabling them.
Every vote you give them is not just a vote for them. You're voting for their policies.
So, but it looks like now he's relenting. He's going to let the ranges open on May 15th. But of course, there must be certain rules which must be applied. Like with a lot of businesses that are opening now, and they're pushing these weird rules and limitations, and they're making it very difficult for businesses to continue to operate and be able to make a profit. Yeah. So far, the occupancy must be limited to 50% of the lowest occupancy load on their certificate in the building, with at least 6 feet of physical distancing between individuals at all times.
I am so sick and tired of bureaucrats trying to tell business owners how to run their business.
Right.
I mean, it's asinine. We have a governor, and I cannot remember, Roger, with a state, but this. I'm trying to be nice. But this dirtbag, because he couldn't stop the lakes from being open, he is limiting only 2 people to a boat. So you can take your family of 5 and try to put them on a houseboat. He will arrest you. You have to only choose 1 family member to go with you.
But the funny thing is, you're letting all these people out of prison, murderers and rapists and drug dealers out of prison because they're afraid they might get the COVID-19.
Those are Democrat voters.
But then they're trying to put relatively normal law-abiding citizens in jail for violating some ridiculous, unconstitutional rules that they're trying to push through. The Constitution does not say null and void in the event of pandemic.
It does not.
It does not say null and void in case of some version of a flu. No, there is no null and void clause in the Constitution. It is there regardless of what is going on.
Right.
It does not just go away. It does not just change at a whim. It has to be changed via voting, pushing through new rules, and voting on laws. That's the way the Constitution changes.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so now they're going to allow the ranges to open, maintaining 6 feet of space, 50% occupancy, and they're going to require this disinfecting every 60 minutes of all touched equipment or touched surfaces. So it's going to be available. They're going to have to open up the ranges now. He's giving into this. So he got his, I don't know if he decided it would be politically expedient or he thought that the Department of Homeland Security would come after him for shutting them down, which would be great to see the DHS come after these people who are violating their regulation suggestions. You know, because, I mean, you can't just shut people down. It's not legal. You can't do anything like that in the name of security.
No, but they're doing it in these blue states.
And they're getting away with it. That's what kills them. These people are standing by and letting it happen.
They're getting away with it, but hopefully, this is going to backfire on them. And like I said, maybe the people will either these. And when I say these people, I'm saying these Democrat voters. They'll either sit at home or they're going to vote for somebody else.
Yeah,
because even a liberal socialist, let me put it this way, even a voter who thinks they're liberal and socialist will get tired of being forced to shelter at home. Because remember, it's good for you, but it ain't good for them. So when it happens to them, they start pushing back.
All these essential workers are out there working, and we appreciate you guys. I mean, you guys who have to work. I mean, you're doing your job. Other people who cannot go to work, I imagine a lot of them would rather be at work doing something productive, getting something done, rather than being forced to stay at home.
Yeah, but the government wants to transform them into not, instead of being net producers, they want to turn them into net receivers.
Right. So that's why they bumped up the unemployment so high, because now people can stay home and make more than they would make when they were working.
Don't get me started.
It's crazy. But anyway, so now the ranges can be open in Virginia as of the 15th, so be aware of that. If you're in Virginia, by all means, go visit your local range. Go help them out. Go support them. Go buy some guns, buy some ammo, buy some range time. Yeah. All right, we're going to be back in just a few minutes. This is Locked and Loaded on America's Web Radio.
Get your pen and paper ready. If there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call them.
The disease of addiction is a life-altering challenge, not just for the person suffering its effects, but also for the family and friends who support and love the one caught in its grasp. What should be the course of treatment? Who is the best person to render treatment? And what is the best place to go for the care that is needed? We know that you want answers to these and many more questions. Call 770-696-9862 and speak to a representative of the Atlanta Healing Center. They can tailor a program specifically designed to address the needs of the person suffering with an addiction, or give you guidance as to where that help may be found. Information is the key, and the trained staff at AHC is here to assist. If you wish, you can also get more information on the website located at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Karuchak. Join me and my co-host, Dr. Hal Scherz, as we talk about the topics that doctors talk about amongst themselves, such as Medicare, Obamacare, alternative forms of care, and health information technology. Join us every Thursday morning, 8 to 9 a.m.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Hello and welcome back. I am Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded, and you're listening to America's Web Radio. And sitting to my right is Victor Armendariz from On Point with Victor, sitting in today to help us out.
For at least a few more minutes.
Now, we've talked about this on the show before. The 4 rules of gun safety. I mean, I'm going to run through them real quick, see if I can remember them all. I don't always remember them. I always practice them, but don't always remember the actual rules. But basically, don't point your weapon at anything you don't intend to shoot or destroy. Assume every weapon is loaded. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're up on target and ready to shoot. And be sure of your backstop and what's beyond your target when you're shooting. Apparently, the Iranian Navy needs to go back to basic training and learn the 4 rules of gun safety.
Yes, they do, and they learn that the hard way.
Because during the course of this week, apparently, they have opened fire during some training exercises with live rounds and shot one of their own ships.
You know, some of you are probably not going to like this, but I visualize right now a lot of boom, and then oh shit.
You know, I want to add one thing to you to your rules there, and a lot of people don't do this, and yet if you go to many ranges, you'll see it, and it's like to be totally aghast.
What's that?
Know what's on either side of you, and if you're there with any kind of weapon, it doesn't matter. You know, I've seen that
flagging.
times.
Yes, that's why you never point your weapon at anything you don't intend to shoot.
Yeah.
Whether it's somebody next to you, behind you. There's a video that was going around of a guy who was shooting, and a shell went up and got down the back of his shirt.
Oh, no.
And he waves his hand around him trying to pull his shirt, and he fires off a round while the guy is sweeping the brass behind him. Mm-hmm. Thank God he didn't hit anybody, but he came so close to shooting the guy sweeping the brass up with his gun, because the shell went down the back of his shirt, and he swung his gun around with his hand to try and loosen it up, and he ended up firing off a round or two.
So yes, do not wave with your weapon.
If you're going to do the hot shell dance, put the gun down first, then do the hot shell down my shirt dance.
You know, exactly. You know, it's like motorcycle riding, David, to your point. If you're riding a bike, or if you have experience riding a bike, where you look is where you're going to go. So if you're holding a weapon, where you look, don't drag that gun with the barrel facing wherever you
Don't
look.
wave it around pointing at people trying to say, hey, this gun's jammed. Can you come fix it? No, you don't do that. And apparently Iran didn't heed this warning, didn't pay attention to these rules.
Well, they waved around a bigger.
It was a bigger gun, yes. It was. Hey, a gun's a gun, you know. A weapon's a weapon. So they fired, apparently, and sunk another Iranian naval vessel, killing all 40 people on board. Mm-hmm. So it's a sad day for Iran because they killed themselves.
I mean, you know,
Are we going to give them a medal or anything?
You know, there should be some attaboys given there.
If Obama were still president, he'd take credit,
and he'd send him a few $1 billion just to make him feel better.
Some millions to rebuild.
Oh my God.
Say, well, it was the United States' fault. They were really shooting at one of our
that's
carriers,
true, right.
but it was our fault. We were in the same.
Yeah, they're probably claiming it was during a gun battle with the United States.
Knowing Obama, Biden, you're probably right, David. He might have come out with they were practicing and they ricocheted off of our ship for being there, and then it sunk their ship. Oh yeah, they'd probably blame us somehow. Then he would go on an apology tour.
Well, no, at least they did hit their target.
Well, they did hit the target. Hey, I'm proud of them. I am proud of the Iranians.
They made it. They made a good shot. They scored a hit.
Did they make a video so they can put it out in propaganda and show that they can hit another boat?
I wonder if anybody shouted, "You sank my battleship."
I'll bet you that some of our fine military officials who might have seen this happen on satellite went, "You sank my battleship."
E7, hit!
And the captain of the ship, the commander of the fleet, was saying, Thank you. There's a guy.
Yeah, but so
You've made my day.
You made my
I
day.
know. Well, apparently Iran sank one of their own battleships. so-
Or maybe we can pick up on satellite if the guy that wanted to, maybe an admiral turned to his XO and said,
Oops.
not just oops, but pretty sneaky, sis.
Oh,
We could
goodness.
just have lots of fun with this. We should turn this into a video.
Yeah, apparently the ship that was hit was reportedly tasked with placing targets in the firing zone.
Oh, they placed the target themselves.
They were not supposed to be a target. They were supposed to be putting targets out there. Now, Iran's official news service claimed only one sailor was killed in this incident. But apparently there's enough video surveillance and satellite surveillance to prove this was not the case.
Well, if you listen to the story the Iranians got, it was American ships sunk, sailors captured. I'm sure that's the story they're telling their people.
Now, I don't know what they're talking, but apparently it's not the truth. But apparently that's what happened with the Iranian Navy. So, it's hard not to laugh at guys who do stuff like that, because especially after what they've done with our Navy, trying to take sailors hostage and things like this and harassing U.S. ships.
Well, sort of like shooting down the plane when they said, "Oh, we didn't realize that it was."
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not having a good year, are they?
Not really.
Shooting down stuff they're not supposed to shoot.
Hey, we have a listener out there, Roger, who brings a good point. It's not going to be good if these Iranian fools go out and mistakenly sink a ship and start a war. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
We could start a civil war.
Or is yeah, well, with shooting like that's probably true.
I mean,
but that's a point to be made.
And you wonder if they're this incompetent while they're training, what are they going to be like when there's any pressure there?
Well, if it's anything like the Iraqs the first time we went in there, I mean,
yeah, they pretty much didn't want to play.
They didn't want to play. But yeah, you do have to think about it. When you've got idiots like the North Korean regime trying to make missiles and fire missiles over Japan, what happens when an errant missile hits Japan? Or when an errant Iranian ship knocks out a ship that's not their own?
Right. Well, now with North Korea firing their missiles, their guidance system is somewhat questionable, so it would be an accident.
It would probably be an accident, but if it happened, even though it's an accident,
but apparently the Iranians were dead on.
Yeah, they were
dead on.
Dead on, balls accurate. It's
That's
an industry
right.
term.
Oh my goodness! But anyway, so again, don't shoot at things don't point your gun at things you don't intend to shoot or destroy. Iran, learn the 4 rules of gun safety.
That's right.
Now we're going to go to Missouri. Now this is not entirely a gun story, but it's something I wanted to bring up because this is how this would actually play right into the idea of red flag laws. Because there are Missouri residents that were encouraging, the Missouri government was encouraging its residents to snitch on their neighbors or businesses that were violating the lockdown or violating the stay-at-home order. But what they didn't realize is that once they file a complaint or they make a complaint, their information is now public.
Uh-huh.
So you can find out who called in the complaint, who made who ratted you out for
which neighbor ratted you. Well, you just mentioned
Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah.
It's there, and they're
there,
using
yeah.
it. So all you snitches out there, be aware.
Hey.
Your information may be able to get out there.
Snitches get stitches. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying.
That seems to be the
Hey,
generality.
look at it
there.
this way. I'm a nice guy. Now, you try and turn me in. Well, when you need to borrow toilet paper and water, you ain't getting it from me.
That's right. Go get it somewhere else.
Yeah, you go get it somewhere else.
Go lock yourself down with whatever you got. But yeah, so apparently all these people who filed complaints, their information was available through the Freedom of Information Act or the Sunshine Law request, and they were able to get the information on all the snitches.
That's excellent.
So now that is awesome because this is pure Nazi. Turn your neighbor in for
absolutely.
violating some unconstitutional
It's
law.
Nazism, fascism,
It's ridiculous.
socialism.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, it really is. They should start a community Facebook or something, or some kind of social media pointing
to
out.
shame these people,
To
yes.
shame them because these idiots are trying to shame them.
These
so
are your
shame
neighbors.
them back.
Yeah, these are your neighbors. These people
Shame
live
them
in your
back.
community, and these people
Yeah.
are just fighting to keep their
Hey.
businesses alive.
There was a good citizen in New York a few weeks ago that tried to shame Cuomo. and I'm sorry, De Blasio, and Cuomo did it too, actually, but De Blasio was caught telling just after doing a news or whatever report or
some sort of
announcement,
release,
just after doing an announcement saying you must stay home, he went across the city of New York to one of his favorite parks. The man lives on a park.
Yeah.
But he went across the city to go to a park and walk
the rules
through.
don't apply to us. We're the elite. We're your rulers.
Like I said,
listen to us, you little peons.
Socialism is for the people, not the socialists.
That's right. Oh, that's me.
Yeah, so I mean, it's that's the problem with socialism in general, and even Democrats and elitists here in this country. Everything they do is for you, the peasant, not for them.
Right. All the restrictions.
Well, that's what I mean. So
all the
when you're
favors,
told to
all the
stay at
favors,
home,
and the things where they can make extra money. That's all for them and not for you.
You can't go get Botox, but Pelosi can. You can't go get a haircut, but the mayor of Chicago can.
And you can't go see your grandkids, but Pelosi can.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep, that's it.
You can't have a wall to protect yourself, but Pelosi can. That's just the way it is.
Funny thing with her is when she was telling everybody, no, this is just a big scare. Come on down to Chinatown, hang out with us, go see a movie this weekend.
All through February.
And then, of course, they flipped the script, blamed Trump for not doing anything sooner while they were out undermining everything he said.
The one guy who did the first thing was to shut down travel coming from China. And
they
shortly
called him
after
racist
that, shut down
for it.
travel from Europe.
They called him
was
racist.
Called a
for
racist,
that.
called a xenophobe.
Then
these people ran around.
And then they said he didn't do enough. It's like, you said he did too much, now you said he didn't do enough. Make up your mind.
You can't win when you're a Trump Republican.
Be honest. Have a little bit of integrity. But anyway, if you live
Don't hold your breath.
Now, I don't know. It would be great if any kind of red flag law stuff would be made public like this, too. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know what the red flag laws are like in Missouri, but be aware that you can get the names of people who handed other people in Missouri. So that ought to be fun. I'm sure they're going to be high on everybody's list to invite to a barbecue this summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Now,
lots and lots of.
On this same sort of thing, I'm going to give you something that was someone went around apparently in Kentucky on Easter Sunday or the night before Easter Saturday Eve or whatever, throwing nails down, spreading nails at the entrances of church parking lots, holding Easter services. So here are your First Amendment rights. Now, I know this is not gun-related necessarily, but your First Amendment rights are only there because of your ability to have weapons to be able to fight a tyrannical government. But apparently there were people, I don't think they've caught them yet. Now, I'm hoping that they're looking, but they had piles of nails at the entrance and exit to every church in the area. They were trying to stop people from going to church on Easter Sunday because they didn't believe it was the right thing for people to do. So be aware. This is the kind of mentality you're dealing with this lockdown. They believe they are right, and they will do anything they believe is they will justify almost anything to get what they want. So be aware. These are the kind of people who you usually have to stand up against and fire back upon because they're going to come up there and try and take your rights. And they'll do it with any means they think they can, and they'll justify it somehow.
One other thing that ought to be brought in here, in my opinion, and my opinion once in a while counts, but, there was an old saying during World War II that loose lips sink ships.
Yep.
And if I've got one little piece of advice is keep your damn mouth shut. Be it on food. If you warehouse food, you got a ton of food. Oh, I could take care of the whole neighborhood. Keep your mouth shut. Oh, well, I got weapons. I hide them all over the place. Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah,
right.
And what nobody else needs to know. And call me later and I'll give you Roger's home address.
We need to treat it as everyone is on a need-to-know basis.
Yeah. And nobody needs to know.
Nobody needs to know.
Nobody needs to know.
But
and this is, you think about where we are today and the loose cannons and everybody is, to say on edge would probably be an understatement. And my younger sister and I, we've been going through some family things and illnesses, and we're framing the words "I don't know," and everybody's saying "I don't know," and we don't know where the pandemic's going. What's
we don't even
right,
know if it was
what's
real
wrong.
to start with.
Yeah. So, and everybody is on edge, and when you're on edge, you make bad decisions, and we're just lucky that we live in the United States and we have plenty of food. If we had added a food shortage to this,
Oh, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. They're saying cattle is selling for $400 less, but yet if you look at beef in the grocery store, it's ridiculously high.
Yeah.
Somebody is screwing both of us. The
Well,
guys raising the cattle and the people buying the
no,
beef.
it's not- no. I will defend that. It's
Okay.
not the guys raising the cattle. That I can guarantee you.
Well,
they're
there's
not getting the prices.
No, they're getting less.
Yeah, the slaughterhouses are the ones, and part of their problem is they've been shut down because they couldn't have 10 people in the slaughterhouse.
Oh, in the same place at once.
Yeah,
Oh.
and so and I used to get not tickled. I got really in a bad situation in a grocery store over women talking about, well, those farmers are just stealing from us with the milk prices that they are today. It wasn't the farmers that were.
That's the middleman.
The middleman.
Yeah.
And
They're screwing both sides against the middle.
exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
it. And there's going to be some of that now. The pharmaceuticals do it. It's we got to be. You just got to be careful. And your wisdom with regard to the carry. Yeah, you, Mr. B.
Oh, okay. Wisdom? It's not a word I usually hear association.
It starts with a W. Anyway, no, what you were talking about with the license, if you carry, you got to be that much more responsible. And,
right.
It's because they're, quite frankly, I don't personally, it's like I don't personally worry that much about going on a grocery store and people staring at me whether I have a mask on or if they're that upset, I'll put one on. But we're in uncharted water.
Right.
That's the best
And
I can say.
Yeah.
it's funny because these politicians are taking so much power and trying to limit their citizens by so much. You wonder how often they're going to try and pull this. Oh, there's a pandemic going on. We need to do this, this, and this.
Hey, the Simpsons did it first, and the government just apparently is copying them.
Well, the Simpsons were probably smarter than I.
Yeah, probably. It's pretty sad, but
Now the Simpsons are definitely from the future.
it
Everything they
must
predict
be from the future.
it's coming true. It's hilarious.
Or can government be that dumb?
That's hard to say.
Wait, that's a rhetorical question.
But anyway, I mean, you're having people here taking the law into their own hands in several cases. Here's another one. They decide they don't want anybody going to church, so they're going to spread nails in front of all the church entrances and
That's
exits
crazy.
to deter people.
Wow.
And they have no right to do this. Our First Amendment right is clearly there. There shall pass no law to restrict the right of the people to peaceably assemble.
Yep.
And the other side of the coin is that, like you said, they have no right to do that. Somebody could have gotten out
and you wonder if they had caught these people, if they had had a camera with a motion detector and they had caught them doing it. At that point, if you do have a gun, what is your responsibility? Can you shoot them for this? No, of course not. Can you get a tag number and take some pictures and call the police? Yes, that's what you should do. Especially if they could catch them and charge them with all the damage they caused after doing something like this. That would be the thing to do. Make it hurt financially. Take their house away, whatever it does to fix all the hundreds of tires they damaged or, cars they damaged. Make them pay for all that.
They should be financially responsible, no doubt.
Yep, that would be actually entertaining, unless they live in their mom's basement.
pretty hard for them to go to the insurance and say, cover me on spreading nails.
Cover me. I spread some nails out and I got 400 flat tires in one afternoon.
Yeah.
Roger, we had a listener that just chimed in who brings up a good point that we've talked about before. No matter how bad the government does, there are at least half this country seems to want to give them more power. I mean, how does that make sense? You
limit
you
government.
Normally, you take, for instance, if you have kids, if they do a bad behavior, you want to try and get that bad behavior out of them or get less of it.
Right. You want to discourage the bad behavior, encourage good behavior.
We, the people who, this is a government of, for, and by the people, why on earth there's so many of us who will give more power to bad behavior or reward bad behavior with more power is beyond me.
I don't understand.
It makes no sense.
You know?
Okay, the way it does make sense, which doesn't make sense, but no, is that somebody will make a statement like that that has not literally been directly affected.
Right.
Then they're out here with this big la-la land surrounding them that everything's rosy and and so they can make a statement like that. Give the government more power.
Give them more power.
Exactly.
Well,
you give the government more power. It's like that idiot Pelosi coming out. Well, we ought to send everybody $2,000 a month. Where exactly is that money
Where's it gonna
coming
come from?
And it's coming from the idiot that said, let's give the government more power.
Well, the other point to that, David, is you've got, take the media, for instance. The free press, who they're going to be the first under a socialist, fascist regime or type of government. They're going to be the first to lose that freedom. But yet
be restricted.
They think that they are part of the elite, so they want to give more power because we're going to be part of the power gang. But how wrong they are, they just don't know it.
It's like the rope of socialism is around their neck and tied to the
they're
tree,
tied
and they're watering the tree.
And the sad part is, it's already, in my opinion, it's already happening today and has already happened, in that we don't get news, we get opinions. And there's a big damn difference between news and the truth.
Huge difference, yeah.
And opinion. And, it's like the snake sort of crawling up your leg and you don't notice it until it's bitten you.
Right.
And it's out there and it's
We're
coming.
the frog and the scorpion.
Yep.
The scorpion asked the frog to give it a ride across the creek.
Give me a ride across the creek.
I won't sting you, because if I sting you, then we'll both die.
We'll both die.
When the frog goes, okay, that makes sense, so I'll do it. And halfway across the creek, the scorpion stings the frog, and the frog goes, why'd you do that? Because I'm a scorpion. That's what I do.
That's what I do.
So
And I can fly.
Don't trust the government.
No.
The government is rarely going to do things that are going to help you. They're going to
right.
do things that are going to help
What was
themselves.
Reagan's great line?
Oh, he had so
Which
many.
one?
Well, the one about the government. Hi, I'm with the government. I'm here to
To
help.
help, yes.
Hello, we're with the government. We're here to help you.
That's okay. I'm good. I'm good. I got
I'm
this.
good. No thanks. Yeah.
That's like, I saw one. It was a photograph, and it has a bike lane, and in the bike lane, they put a sign that says "Give cyclists more space," blocking the bike lane with the sign. And I'm going, that's
Only-
government's way of helping.
Only government.
I had a situation with that yesterday, and that here's a perfectly good bike lane, and there are two people, one in front of the other one, but they're in the road. They're not in the damn bike lane.
They're not even using the lane. Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah.
I know you're not exempt because you're on a bicycle. You're not some mystical, magical, exempt from any kind of rules person just because you're on a bicycle, especially when there's a bike lane. I mean, especially with the way people drive these days, being distracted the way they are, I would be exceptionally careful of that. Oh my gosh. I would not want to have, I want to stay as far away from traffic as I can. But some people just think that's where they get the best ride. And I don't know. Maybe it's more challenging. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thanks,
maybe.
Frogger.
Things. We've only
Where's
got
your
about
bicycle?
3 minutes to go, not even 2.5 minutes. And I'd like to throw out that want to thank the folks that have sent in and become sponsors of different shows and our sponsors for many shows. If you're looking to tell people, if you don't tell people you're open, how are they going to know? And America's Web Radio touches not only the nation but international. And we are a very good place to advertise, and it's very inexpensive to not only get national coverage, but also the fringe benefit of international coverage, particularly if you're in the mail order business or will do mail orders. I can give you one client, and I'm more than happy to give you their name and information and so forth, that advertises exclusively on America's Web Radio, and they do business not only throughout the United States, but also in the UK and in Australia.
Wait a minute. I'm hearing David over David.
Sorry. Oops.
No, go ahead. That was funny.
We have some folks that, anyway. With that being said, we want to thank you for listening to America's Web Radio.
Absolutely.
And we've got some great shows coming up, and want to invite everybody. Friday at 11 o'clock, we invite you to join us for meditation with our own master Kung Fu. Daru is his name. And
Shidaru.
No, just Daru.
Oh, Daru. Okay.
Yes, we changed that. We
Okay.
changed his name. But anyway, Daru, and I think you'll find it very interesting and very relaxing, and is quite a break after a busy, hard week. And Daru is watch him, and he'll lead our meditation for the week. And we have many other great shows that are going on, and we appreciate everybody tuning in, and we look forward to being back with Locked and Loaded next week, and On Point with Victor, and David's pick coming up in the next couple of days.
In the not too near future.
In the not too far.
Not too far. Yeah, that's it.
Not too far. future.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, it will be coming around. So thanks for tuning in. And
This is Locked and Loaded. I am Roger B., and you're listening to America's Web Radio.
Whether cruising the strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a